Hi and welcome everyone. Thank you for your curiosity. My name's Shelby. I've been a world traveler for a couple years now. I created this video to help assist US passport holders in trying to renew their passport in a faster method than the mail-in process. This video covers cheap places to get your passport photo taken and just the entire process from setting up an appointment to walking out with your brand new passport. If this is relevant to you, I hope you find it useful, and if it's not, then maybe you find it entertaining. I don't know. Enjoy. So, it's that dreaded time of the decade. Your passport's going to expire. US passports are good for 10 years, a decade, but generally you want to start thinking about renewal in year number 9. For most countries, an entry requirement is that you cannot enter the country if your passport is going to expire within 6 months. So those last 6 months on your passport are basically useless. There are 4 different ways to renew your passport. The standard option, so you mail it in, and unfortunately right now it seems to take up to 15 to 17 weeks, which is outrageous. Next option would be the expedited process. Expedited, you'd think that means fast. Not exactly. So currently, expedited process is taking 11 to 13 weeks. It's a lot of time, especially if you've got travel on the books. Neither of those options sounded ideal to me. Option number 3, it's an in-person appointment with the passport agency. So this sounded doable. You set up an appointment, and there are agencies scattered around the country, and the only catch is you have to have an international flight booked. So if you have either a flight booked within 2 weeks, or you're going to a country that requires a visa within 4 weeks, this is an option for you. And there are 2 different categories. There is the scary one, and I feel bad for anyone who needs this, a life and death emergency travel. I suppose if you were going to a funeral or something. But I guess that also includes births, so that one's exciting. And the other one is urgent travel. There is no description for urgent travel. What that really means is just for the poor planners. You just have a flight coming up and you need a passport. You did not realize your passport is expired. So that is a good option, and that is the option that I recommend and I'm going to try myself. The 4th and final option would be to get your passport while you're abroad in a foreign country. The only catch with that is it can take some time. You could be stuck in that country. But yeah, those are the 4 options. And option number 4 is my backup if this appointment does not work. All right, so as with any identification, a picture is generally involved. Surprise, surprise. Last time I got my passport renewed back in 2020, I went with CVS, a staple. Unfortunately, it cost about $30. They did give you 2 photos, but that did seem a bit much just to have a tiny little picture. So this time I did my due diligence, looked up online a couple different places. Apparently the cheapest option is Sam's Club. It costs just over $5 to get your picture, although that does require a membership. So unless you have a friend, I do not. Well, I mean, I've got a couple, but none that are friends with Sam. So runner-up option, and very dear to my heart, excellent choice for people watching, is Walmart. They apparently cost, supposedly, we'll find out, just under $8, so not too far off, and same day pickup and everything, so should be an easy enough process. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, mission accomplished, easy peasy. I walked right up, didn't have to wait at all. A guy immediately helped me, takes my photo, says come back in 5-10 minutes. $7.89 later, I've got my passport photos, and it comes with 2 Take that, CVS. Walmart's got you. So, on to the next step. You know, at the time when I booked a flight from Medellin back to Washington, D.C., I thought I was being wildly strategic. I needed to get a new passport. I thought, okay, nation's capital where all the embassies are, this is going to be the place, this is where you're going to get it done. Well, as it turns out, it's a bit more complicated than that. You have to call a hotline number, and if they pick up, which is a magical thing, it does take a few attempts, but I did actually get through, and I try and schedule an appointment. Oops. I think oh yeah, I'm gonna get one in DC. Well, no, not the case. They tell me DC's all booked completely, and not just DC. They tell me New York, Philadelphia, all the way up to Boston, completely booked. I say, okay, well, how about the next closest region? Minneapolis, booked. Texas, booked. Okay, well, what's next? Colorado, Denver. Okay, there's one appointment. I say, sign me up, put me down. I'm in for it. I'm gonna buy a flight, and that's exactly what I did. So right now, I am at the train station. I'm taking a nice, fun 4 a.m. train to Philadelphia, and then a budget flight from Philadelphia to Denver. I'm sure I will look fresh and super pleased at this passport meeting. All aboard. So let's assume that you do get through to the passport agency. They're gonna ask you a couple criteria check questions. First things first, what country are you flying to? And that's a visa check. Does the country you're flying to require a visa? Do you fall into that 28-day window? And then the second question that they're going to ask is, what day are you flying? Do you comply with the requirement of international travel within 14 or 28 days? And let's say that you don't actually have a flight booked yet. You didn't want to make that financial commitment without seeing if there are any available appointments. Fine. What you want to do is tell them that your flight is scheduled for that 14th day, that 28th day, whatever it may be, to allow yourself the full maximum search time for an available appointment. And even if you aren't intending to fly during this period, you have upcoming travel, but not that soon, you just want to knock this out of the way, you can always book a flight and pay that extra amount of money to get the full cancellation with no fees. And, you'll have that proof of international travel to show them in the appointment, and you can just cancel it once everything's sorted without any financial issues for yourself. And then the third question that they're going to ask is, why are you in this situation? Why aren't you using the normal process? And firstly, that's to check, is this an emergency travel, or do you fall under the category of urgent? And then secondly, don't let this fluster you. I mean, if you are planning your trip 2 months in advance and you see your passport's expired and you try and fix that problem and see that it's going to take longer than 2 months, I'm sorry. If you're doing anything 2 months in advance, that's being a responsible planner, and there is no solution other than this last minute option. So they can't argue with that. And other than that, it's all very straightforward, personal identifier questions, your name, phone number, social, and it's a very straightforward conversation. So, a valid question might be, can I make an appointment online? And the answer is, unfortunately, no. This used to be a feasible option, and then being the capitalist country that we are, a scam ruined it for everybody. Schemers, entrepreneurs as some call them, back in the day, took all of the appointments, they would sign up for all of them and then sell them at an astronomical price to the poorly planned travelers who were in desperate need of a passport renewal. And in some cases, these were these were fake appointments, so you would pay all this money and not even end up with a real appointment. So in a a surprisingly heroic endeavor, the U.S. Passport Agency took down the online portal, and unfortunately now the only option is to try and get through on the phone and get one of the very few, very rare appointment slots wherever you can in this country. But you also cannot transfer your appointment. So if you scored one, it's only yours. You can switch the time, you can cancel the appointment, but you cannot gift it to somebody else. And that kind of goes hand in hand and is tied back to the scam. They give you a personal identifier that you create on the phone, and you need to present to them at the time of your appointment to gain access. Top security business here. They're not messing around. All right, I made it. It's a lovely little sitting area. You're not allowed to go in until 15 minutes before your passport appointment, so I am patiently waiting. Yes, so things that you need to bring to your passport meeting: your secret identification code, so they will let you in, your old passport, your passport application, in this case it's the DS-82 form, the proof of international flight, so I printed off my confirmation email. The same applies if this is a visa country. Payment of some sort. I plan on paying with credit card. It said it was allowed. I hope that's the case. 10 minutes to go before I can head in. Here goes nothing. So that whole process took about 1 hour from the point I walked in. First things first, you go through security. Just like airport security, they put all of your belongings through a scanner, checking for weapons. Obviously I had none, and they won't let you in the door unless you have your confirmation number. There was a lady outside, very upset, very desperate, trying to do a walk-in appointment. That's not something they do. They were polite, persistent, and they did not let her in. And you can't even hope to snag a canceled appointment or a no-show, because apparently your appointment is valid for the whole day. Once you're in, oh my gosh, it's like the DMV. You just stand in a very long line, and you slowly wait to check in. And then they give you a check-in number, and then you go and you're allowed to sit down finally until they call your check-in number. As far as check-in, they just needed the application, the picture, and your proof of flight. Because I am renewing not because of expiration and because I ran out of space, they also require a brief statement as to why you're renewing. I said that I'm almost out of pages and I need a renewed passport for continued long-term travel. So hopefully that's all fine. When I was able to go to the second counter, I paid $190. It's $130 for your regular passport, and if you did pay the expedited mail-in, just the extra $60 is to expedite it, so it's the same amount as expediting, except the wait time is completely different. If you do the mail-in, as I said, that's still over 2 months by the time you get your passport back. This, on the other hand, I was told that my passport will be ready for pickup in 3 hours. I mean, that's a world of a difference. They do say online that there's an additional $35 charge, processing fee, but it was not charged. So all in all, a happy day, although I will not celebrate until I physically have my passport. Don't want to get overexcited. You never know what can happen, but right now I'm pretty thrilled. Yay! And just like that, same day pickup, brand new passport. You can see the difference. One is significantly thicker than the other. Got the big boy book, 50 pages compared to 20-something, 25 pages. So this problem will not happen again. I will not run out of space for a much longer time. and it is a joyous day here in Denver, Colorado. Super easy, just went in. They said you had to present your receipt, go through security again, stand in line, get a ticket, and they tell me, oh, your passport's not actually ready yet. Not a problem. Take a seat, and maybe 10 minutes later, they call my name, hand me both my old and new passport, say double check the info, and you're good to go. Congratulations. All smiles. All smiles on the Western Front, nothing quiet about it. Now, to the airport, and all the best.